Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that many of you have been asking about, the latest developments concerning the Iraqi dinar. We'll be looking at recent news, official statements, and economic indicators coming out of Iraq to get a clearer picture of the current situation. It's a complex subject with a lot of moving parts, so our goal today is to break it down in a way that's easy to understand. We'll stick to the facts and analyze what they might mean for Iraq's economic future. First up, let's talk about the Central Bank of Iraq, or CBI. Recently, the CBI has been very active in its efforts to stabilize the national currency and manage the exchange rate. One of their primary tools has been controlling the flow of US dollars within the country. They've implemented stricter regulations on wire transfers and cash withdrawals to ensure dollars are being used for legitimate trade and not for speculative purposes. This has created two distinct exchange rates: the official rate, which is set by the bank, and the parallel market rate, which fluctuates based on supply and demand on the street. The gap between these two rates is something we're watching very closely, as a smaller gap often suggests greater stability. The CBI's actions are part of a broader economic strategy. The Iraqi government under Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani has been vocal about its commitment to economic reform. A key part of this reform is what they call de-dollarization. This doesn't mean they're getting rid of the dollar entirely, but rather they're encouraging more transactions to be conducted in Iraqi dinar. The goal is to strengthen the national currency and assert more control over their own monetary policy. We've seen this in new regulations requiring domestic trade and business contracts to be priced in dinar. It's a long-term project, but these are significant first steps. Now let's look at the international front. Iraq's relationship with international financial institutions like the US Treasury and the International Monetary Fund is crucial. There have been ongoing discussions and collaborations aimed at modernizing Iraq's banking sector. This includes implementing international standards for anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism. These measures are designed to make the Iraqi banking system more transparent and trustworthy, which is essential for attracting foreign investment and integrating into the global economy. Positive reports from these institutions can be a strong signal of progress. Another major factor is Iraq's national budget. The recently passed budget is one of the largest in the country's history, fueled by strong oil revenues. A significant portion of this budget is allocated to infrastructure projects, public sector salaries, and social services. How this money is spent will have a direct impact on the economy. Efficient spending on projects that create jobs and stimulate economic activity can lead to real growth. On the other hand, challenges with corruption or inefficient bureaucracy could hamper these efforts. Analysts are keeping a close eye on budget execution rates as an indicator of the government's effectiveness. Oil prices, of course, remain the lifeblood of the Iraqi economy. Iraq is one of the world's top oil producers, and its revenue is heavily dependent on the global price of crude. Recent stability in oil markets has provided the government with the financial resources to pursue its reform agenda. However, this also highlights the country's vulnerability to fluctuations in the global energy market. Economic diversification is a long-standing goal for Iraq, moving away from its reliance on oil and developing other sectors like agriculture, tourism, and manufacturing. Any progress in these areas is a positive sign for long-term economic health. So, what are the key takeaways from all of this? We're seeing a concerted effort from the Iraqi government and the central bank to strengthen the dinar and reform the economy. They are taking concrete steps, like implementing stricter financial regulations and promoting the use of the local currency. The international community appears to be supportive of these reforms, providing technical assistance and guidance. The country has the financial resources from its oil revenue to fund these ambitious plans. However, it's also important to maintain a realistic perspective. These are deep structural changes that won't happen overnight. Iraq faces significant challenges, including bureaucratic hurdles, political complexities, and the ever-present need to ensure security and stability. The gap between the official and parallel market exchange rates shows that the transition is still in progress. The success of these reforms will depend on consistent implementation and the government's ability to navigate the obstacles that will inevitably arise. For anyone following the Iraqi dinar, the key is to focus on official sources and verifiable economic data. Pay attention to announcements from the Central Bank of Iraq, statements from the Prime Minister's office, and reports from international bodies. Look at trends in oil revenue, budget execution, and foreign currency reserves. These are the real indicators that will shape the future of the Iraqi economy and its currency. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and we'll continue to monitor the developments as they unfold. Thank you for joining me for this detailed update. I hope this analysis has provided some clarity on a very intricate topic. If you found this information helpful, please give the video a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more updates. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next report. We appreciate you being part of our community. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.